All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing awesome today. In this video, I want to look at the question, does God still heal today? I'm talking about divine healing. Does God still perform miracles? Because I see a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of social media content coming from the reformed slash cessationist theological perspective that does a lot of pushes a lot of negativity out on this subject, saying how it's fake, it's not real, God doesn't do it, those gifts have ceased, they stop with the apostles in the Bible, and large portions of the church are influenced by this kind of teaching. And number one, it boggles my mind because there's literally thousands upon thousands of miracles that are recorded every year all over the world. I mean, there's so much data out there, yet these guys, they still come on social media and they still come on YouTube and they still preach from the pulpit saying how it's not real, it's fake. Or if it does happen, it's not God doing it. Like the most ridiculous things. And so I want to answer this question by just looking at 3 examples from my own life. 2 examples where I actually prayed for someone and saw them healed, and 1 where I witnessed a healing, verified healing in front of me. And so I know some of you can look at that and say, hey, well, how do I know that you're not making it up? And there's nothing I can do to prove it to you other than to say, I saw with my own eyes, and there was multiple witnesses to each one of these events. This wasn't just me praying for someone alone somewhere, and it's just, my word and their word. I'm talking about groups of people, hundreds of people in some of these situations that saw these miracles happen that I was a part of. So, God still heals today, and here are 3 examples from my personal experience. And so the first one is when I want to say 7 or 8 years old. My dad was a pastor, and every year he would have this traveling evangelist come to our church, and I can't remember his name. I want to say Billy Smith. I think his name was Billy Smith. I think he was from Texas, and every year he would come, and this one particular year, I remember at the end of the service, he was praying for people, and there was like a whole bunch of us were huddled around the front part of the church, and he started praying for this little boy. Now, I knew this little boy. He was in the kids program. He's maybe 4 or 5 years old, so a few years younger than me, and he was pigeon-toed. His feet were like this, and I saw him walk that way for a few years up to that point. I knew him from when he was like pretty much born. And then on this particular night, I think Billy Smith prayed for him, and he was sitting on this chair. He put his hands on his feet, and there's literally like 50, 60, 70 people were all huddled around. He put his hands on the boy's feet, and the feet started to do this. The little boy's eyes almost bulged out of his head, and everyone was just like, he was shocked. I remember looking at it. I'm like, we were all just stunned as we literally saw the boy's feet go like this. So he came into the service pigeon-toed, and he left with his feet perfectly aligned and straight. So unless you want to tell me that this boy from birth decided to pretend to be pigeon-toed, walk pigeon-toed for the first 4 or 5 years of his life, and all of a sudden, on this night, decide, I'm going to pretend to get healed, this kid legitimately got healed, and I saw it. And like 70 other people saw it too. Super cool. So that was the first healing experience that I can remember. The second of these next 2 are examples of healing where I was personally involved in it. And so this particular service, I think I was 29 years old at the time, maybe 30, 29 or 30. And at the end of the service, the speaker was like, okay, how many in this room have never seen someone healed through your personal prayer where you've prayed for someone and saw them healed. And all these hands went up. My hand went up too. He's like, okay, I want you to come to the front. And immediately I was like, shoot, why did I put my hand up? So all these people go to the front, and there's maybe like 50, 60 of us all lined across the front of the room. And then he looks out to the crowd, and he's like, okay, now how many people who are sitting here have some kind of, verifiable physical ailment that you need prayer for, that you need healing for? And so all these hands went up. And then he goes, okay, now I want you to go stand in front of someone at the front. And so immediately I'm just like, oh, shoot, like, what did I get myself into? I was nervous. I was anxious. I'm like, why did I put my hand up? So I'm standing there, and then all of a sudden, up walks this guy, young guy, and he's got a crazy limp. Like, he's like massive limp. You could tell that something is wrong with the dude's ankle. And so he comes up to me and he shares. He goes, yeah, I'm a soccer player at one of the colleges that are near to where we were. And I'm on a soccer team, but can't play right now because I hurt my ankle playing soccer. Now, the speaker that night gave this instruction. So I just think I'm ready to pray for this guy's foot, whatever. And he goes, what I want you to do, just to prove to you all that God still heals and that has nothing to do with you, he says, you're not going to pray for this person like you normally would. He said, what I want you to do is, if it's acceptable, if it's in an appropriate part of the body, put your hand on the part of the body that needs healing. And he said, I want you to laugh. Now, right now, I know some of you are like, what are you talking about? I still feel embarrassed from this event. I still feel uncomfortable remembering this story. I was like, you want me to what? Laugh? He said, I want you to not pray for this particular injury or issue. I want you to laugh at it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is nuts. Like I'm not doing this. Like I was just, and everyone was like, we're all freaking out, laughing about it. Like, it's like, what is going on right now? But I was like, okay, I'm up here. This guy is staying in front of me. And so luckily for me, it was a foot injury. And so this is honestly what I did. So the guy was like, okay, get ready. We're going to put your hand on the part. And then he's like, I want you, on the count of 3, you're going to laugh. So I got down on my knees, put my head down so no one could see my face. I put my hand on the guy's foot, and I literally was like, God, this is stupid. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to be obedient. And so I put my hand on his foot, and I literally just went like this. The guy counted down, 3, 2, 1, and I went, ha, ha, ha. By the time I got to the third ha, the guy jumped back and he started freaking out. He said, the pain's gone, and he starts running around completely normal. Like freaking out. Like he's the loudest guy in the room. Everyone stops what they were doing and looks over at me and this guy. He's literally running around completely fine. I'm on my knees still, and I'm like, I'm stunned. I'm shocked. I'm like, what just happened? Like, I didn't feel nothing. There was no goosebumps from heaven. There was no like spotlight from heaven shining down. I felt nothing. I gave a mocked ha ha ha. Dude gets healed. That's the first time I prayed for someone and saw them heal, was that. So then everyone sees this, and then all of a sudden people start leaving where they are and they start lining up in front of me. So now I got like literally 6 or 7 people in front of me, and I'm like, I'm not doing this laughing thing. Like, I'm not doing it. And so I started praying for these people the best that I could pray for them. with my whole heart, and I was like, my heart went out to them, but I was praying for them the traditional way. I wasn't doing this laughing thing. And every single person I prayed for didn't get healed. And so I learned a valuable lesson that night that, yeah, I saw God heal someone. And I learned that it had nothing to do with me and everything to do with God. And God, he doesn't give us a formula on how to pray for people. I mean, Jesus spit and made mud with saliva and stuck it on people's eyes. There's no formula. The point was, on that particular night, that's what he was doing, and I didn't listen, and no one else got healed after the first guy. And so I know it sounds nuts. It sounds crazy. I'm still shocked by it. It's still a story that I'm just like, I regret not doing it to the other people. But at the same time, I'm like, man, that was nuts. So that's my second example here. And the third and final one is I was part of a team, and we would go to this seniors home, and we just hang out with the seniors, and then we would pray for them, those of them that needed prayer for whatever, healing or just anything in general. And so we met this one lady, and she had, a few months prior to us being there, suffered a stroke. And so the entire left part of her body was completely numb. She had no feeling in it. So literally, you can put a line down her whole body, and the left side, no feeling, numb. The right side, she had feeling. And so we went there for 3 weeks in a row to this particular senior's home, and we hung out with this lady, and we prayed for her. And the first 2 weeks we prayed, nothing happened. The third week we show up there. Same thing, we're hanging out. And then on this particular time, I was the one that started praying for this lady. And so I remember I put my hand right on her, the top of her arm right here. And I just started praying. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I started praying, her eyes like opened up wide. And she's like, I can feel your fingers. And then over the course of the next, I think it was 20 to 30 minutes, she started getting feeling on the entire left side of her body that was numb for the previous few months since that stroke. And so, again, I don't know why the third week we prayed and it happened. Why didn't it happen the first time? I have no idea. But this was, again, a lot of witnesses. This lady had a stroke. We spoke to the doctors at the nursing home. She wasn't making it up. It was legit. God touched her. And so those are 3 examples that I can't ignore, that I can't deny, that there were a ton of witnesses. And it's just these are examples that show me. And again, these are just 3 out of literally tens of thousands upon thousands of testimonies from people all over the world that have experienced this. So I don't understand how massive parts of the church say God doesn't do this. I don't understand that. It's a demonic teaching. You're literally mocking the power of God. And yes, I will admit, there are certain times where people have faked healings. Yes, you see the crazy televangelists on TV and all the stories that come out surrounding them, and they've, manipulated the system, and I will give you that. But to sit there and say, because these people have made some dumb choices, that then therefore God doesn't do this, it's like you can't make that jump. That's not fair, and it goes against all of the data, and it robs God of the praise that he's due. And so if you're watching this, God heals. He still does today. And our job is to simply pray and believe. We pray and believe and leave the rest up to God. And then the rest is on God to do what he wants to do. So that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it inspires you to get out there and pray for people, to see God's power come, to see God's kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven, because he does heal. And so thanks so much for watching this video. Have an awesome rest of your day or evening, and leave your own testimonies in the comment section if you've prayed for people yourself and seen healings, or you've been in a situation where healings have taken place. I'd love to hear about it. Leave it below. We'll see you all in the next video. Much love and God bless.